Welcome to FHIMA Speak, the official podcast of the Florida Health Information Management Association. My name is Phillip, and I am the host for today's episode. Today's topic is on FHIMA Living the Pledge. Our guest speaker today is Linda Renn and Teresa Michael. Hi, Linda and Teresa. Linda, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you, Philip. Hi, Teresa. My name is Linda Renn. I'm Vice President of Health Information Professional Services for Stat Solutions Incorporated, former FHIMA Advocacy and Public Policy Chair for the years 2020-2021. Teresa?
Linda, hi Philip. I'm Teresa Michael. I'm a retired Director of Health Information Management from Sarasota Memorial Hospital in Sarasota. I'm on this year's Board of Directors at FHIMA. So, Linda, we're here to talk about living the pledge. And so can you tell us what's new about AHIMA's naming policy?
Yes, what happened in January 14th of 2022, AHIMA released their naming policy to enhance patient identification and matching. It was featured in the Journal of AHIMA, and it was written by Lesley Kadlec. It's in your handouts. There will be a handout with this presentation. So we have links provided in the handouts where you can actually go on and read it yourself. It's 17 pages long, and it talks about recommended data elements for capture in the Master Patient Index. We recognize that to maximize the safety, security, and availability and integrity of patient health records, certain processes must be in place to ensure proper identification and matching of patients to unique health information in health IT systems, and the ability to properly identify individuals is imperative to patient safety and advancing interoperability across the healthcare ecosystem. Collecting patient demographics is the starting point of trusted, reliable patient data. However, institutional policies around the collection of patient demographics may vary. This results in an environment where data is collected and entered in a variety of ways, which can jeopardize patient safety, limit data sharing and interoperability, delay claims, and diminish data quality and integrity. So, Teresa, what's old about patient identification and matching?
Back in June 2021 is when AHIMA first introduced their patient identification and matching naming policy. And as part of that, they asked us to take the AHIMA pledge. And part of that pledge says, as health information professionals, we are committed to excellence in the management of health information for the benefit of patients and providers. Patient misidentification continues to jeopardize patient safety, limit and delay data sharing and interoperability, and has an adverse effect on the data quality. Today, as health information professionals, I pledge to advocate and educate members and other key stakeholders on the importance of naming policies in our healthcare organizations. And I will support, encourage, and educate my fellow health information professionals to implement standardized data entry processes in my organization's health information master patient index. So, Linda, would you like to talk to us about AHIMA's Living the Pledge campaign and the competition that we participated in?
Yes, thank you, Teresa. AHIMA launched a Living the Pledge campaign and competition last year from July 21st to August 20th of 2021. And they asked all the CSAs to participate and share their stories. FHIMA was fortunate to be one of the 5 finalists at the end, and congratulations to Minnesota for winning. So what this AHIMA Living the Pledge campaign and competition was all about was health information professionals are acutely aware that the ability to accurately identify patients poses significant risk to patient safety and misidentification of patients as a negative effect on interoperability. To assist health information professionals in mitigating patient identity problems associated with inconsistencies in patient naming collection, AHIMA's new naming policy provides guidance on a number of key demographic components that should be addressed in organized naming policies to help reduce the risk of patient identity errors and ensure the ability to seamlessly exchange health data across the healthcare ecosystem. So FHIMA chose as one of our stories for naming policy addresses. So AHIMA naming policy conducted a work group, and with the Office of the National Coordinator, it was called Project USA. The background on this patient matching story begins with an understanding of what is Project USA. Project USA was a new initiative to establish a standard approach for representing patient addresses across all health IT systems. It will improve patient matching using accurate address information. So how addresses can help match patients in the records? Correct patient addresses can be used for a number of reasons across healthcare, ranging from mailing patient medications to matching patient records within and across health IT systems. Imagine all of your health records being linked so that your complete health record is available to your doctor when they need it. This is the goal of patient matching. And when everyone records your address the same way across all health IT systems, your standardized address can help link these records. So to assist in creating this naming policy for addresses, AHIMA started a work group, and it was established to provide subject matter expertise and develop best practices related to naming conventions for accurate patient identification. So this work group collected address examples to accompany the technical specifications, leading to the standardization of recording addresses for use by electronic health records developers and healthcare providers and organizations to support patient matching. So one day I received an email from Julie Pursley. They were trying to get in touch with the leadership of Puerto Rico HIMA because Puerto Rico is a territory of the United States, and they were unsure about how addresses are recorded in Puerto Rico. So I was privileged to be invited to just listen in on the call. I wasn't a contributor. I was just a listener. So Phillip, what can you tell us about ONC's Project USA technical specifications?
Yeah, thank you, Linda. So on January 31st of this year, Julie Pursley discussed the new Project USA companion guide, which was developed by ONC and a work group of the HIMA member. Their aim is to help technical and operational professionals work together to implement ONC Project USA technical specification and connect the specification to tasks in the patient registration process. Julie also have advice on where to start in order to use the Project USA specification in your organization. So Linda, can you share about one of the FHIMA Live in the Pledge story?
Thank you, Phillip. FHIMA members are living the pledge, and this is one of our stories. It relates to patient addresses and how they're important in the patient matching and naming policy. So this is a case study. After I was listening in on that phone call with Puerto Rico HIMA, AHIMA, and the ONC, I learned an awful lot. And the following week, I was doing a DRG audit. It was about 35 days after the patient was discharged. It was retrospective, but one of the features is you have to go and look at the discharge status. So I was on that page, and I happened to notice, by happenstance, this weird address. On the third line, it has the country of Honduras. And for purposes of de-identification, we're calling this patient John Doe. So I looked further down on the demographics, and it said patient next of kin was U.S. Border Patrol, person to notify address was U.S. Border Patrol, and the patient name, the patient's address was basically U.S. Border Patrol with the third line of Honduras, the country, stuck in there in the middle of everything. So this patient was found unresponsive at the U.S. Border Patrol security checkpoint. He was transferred to local emergency department by EMS, where he was subsequently admitted as an inpatient into ICU for about 10 days. During his hospital stay, he was officially released from U.S. Border Patrol custody. The case management notes reflected and documented that when he was discharged, his family from Topeka, Kansas would come and pick him up and take him back to Kansas. A thorough review of all the documentation in the EHR revealed no Honduras address and no local address other than U.S. Border Patrol, and no forwarding Topeka, Kansas address or next of kin address or any contact information, even a phone number. So given the nature and severity of his present illness and the likelihood he will require continued health care and dialysis, I was wondering how this patient's address and health information will be matched up within the next healthcare provider in another state. Continuity of care is an important outcome of patient matching between healthcare providers and integral to the public health and patient matching experience. So, we in Florida, we have a lot of healthcare medical ecotourism happening here. A lot of our organizations in healthcare uh, facilities, they even build whole complexes around some of the airports we have here. So we have patients coming from Europe and all over the place that we need to make sure that we record all their addresses, both in the United States domestically and also overseas. So I went out and I decided to do my own little research on what does a Honduras address look like. And this is what the U.S. Postal Code looks like. Every country has, the United States Postal Service has these out there for every country and every place. This one looks like for Honduras. And I was looking at this coding method that they have. It's 6 alphanumeric characters, 2 letters, 4 digits to the left of the locality name followed by the department. I think that might be the equivalent of our zip code. Lesley Carreras is our current president of FHIMA, and she is from Honduras. She would probably be a good person to ask about, is this like a zip code methodology that they use down there? And you'll see that reflected CM1102 and the different categories and how it's placed in the actual mailing letter. There's another example that I have that I found on mailing addresses. And it's on Honduras. It has the patient name, the individual's name. It has the road. It has that same unique, like alphanumeric 6 digits there. And then the actual Honduras next to it. So I did a little bit of my own investigation to find that out. So Teresa, what solutions do you have that you know of to solve some of these issues where records are left like this?
Most hospitals and healthcare systems have internal policies on populating the Master Patient Index and their enterprise MPI. These fields regard the collection of demographic data for patient matching. Although institutional policies around the collection of patient demographics vary, we can promote, advocate, and educate on standardized naming policies for data collection. Perhaps in the issue in John Doe's case was the hospital's Quick Reg policies for ED registration. Quick Reg is an abbreviated registration process designed to decrease the patient registration time and improve the patient throughput, especially in emergency and high-volume areas. These gaps have created a patient matching void in John Doe's demographic healthcare data. This gap may contribute to him being lost to follow-up in the healthcare system and further continuity of patient care. The optimal solution to accurately matching patient records will always be a combination of technology, processes, and people. As health information professionals, we can help solve patient identification and matching issues, a complex problem that requires both public and private sector action. John Doe's patient matching story is our story, and it happens every day across the United States. As health information professionals, we are data standard bearers and experts. We have the knowledge and experience to develop operational guidance and policies and procedures in order to promote best practices in patient matching data collection for the accurate and timely capture and management of patient addresses in healthcare. Linda, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think that everyone can help with patient identification and matching. Like I said, I was just doing my regular job and I came across looking for something else. I came across this demographic information that had I not sat in on that previous phone call the week before, I might not have even paid attention to it. So all of us have a responsibility if we see a problem to let somebody know about it so they can look further into it to see if there are systems or processes in place like Teresa talked about and possible solutions so that this doesn't happen. So Phillip, what can you tell us for more resources if people are more interested in finding out additional resources on this patient matching and patient address issue?
So to learn more about patient matching effort, Health IT and AHIMA created version 1.0 of the Project USA Companion Guide, which was released on January 7th. Also on January 14th, on the Journal of AHIMA, they released an article called AHIMA Releases Naming Policy to Enhance Patient Identification and Matching, and the link will be listed on the handout. Thank you for listening to today's episode of FHIMA Speak, the official podcast of the Florida Health Information Management Association. If you would like to provide feedback on the FHIMA podcast or suggest a topic for a future episode, we encourage you to send us an email at podcast@fhima.org. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.